Welcome back, everyone, to our podcast. And today I'm so particularly excited. One of my great friends and a wonderful, amazing man, Michael Altneu, who is the vice president of Coldwell Banker Global Luxury. I believe he started in 2021 in the position. He'll share with that. He basically runs the luxury division for Coldwell Banker across 40 countries and I think 300 some thousand agents around the world. He's been an amazing man. And one of the amazing things I learned about him, which was so cool, is that he was an EMT, I think starting at 17, my friend. Is that right?
You're correct. You're 17 to 27.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I'm introducing Michael Altneu, my good friend, head of global luxury. And I'm so excited. We're just going to have a nice conversation about real estate and life and all that. So, Michael, give us a little bit more about you and who you are and your position in the company in a more
Yeah,
eloquent way.
you got it. No, I love it. And by the way, do you remember you were the first person that I had lunch with at the company? Do you remember you were my first lunch at the
I remember we
company?
had lunch together, but I didn't realize I was the first.
You were the first. I had started in July of 2021. You were the
Okay.
first person I had lunch with.
Well, I'm honored
You
about
were my
that.
first lunch. We went right on the corner, right near the office there. You had a table and everything. But yes, you were my first lunch. So I look back
Oh,
to, so
gosh,
I
I love
did.
that.
I know you
And
were
was
my
it
first lunch.
2021?
July of 2021. Next in July, it'll be 5 years. Can you believe it?
I thought it was like 2, 3 years, and you've done so much for the company since you joined. So I can't
It
even
feels
believe it's
amazing.
that long. But, anyways,
But yes, what I do is I do oversee luxury for Coldwell Banker, and essentially that is the program and the designation that powers the top 10% of listings by price point across our entire network. And that involves the program, the tools, the resources, the reports, the magazine, all of the different collateral pieces. There's an amazing team members throughout the country as well that you work with that support this as well too. And then obviously the designation, which is the luxury property specialist designation for which you are an ambassador, and which is an even very coveted title. And it's an exceptional thing that we have. So it's both the program and the designation that I am honored to oversee for this network. And
yes. And for those of you who don't know, as being part of Coldwell Banker, to be a luxury specialist, you have to have a designation, which means basically you got to go through courses and training in order to have that quote unquote designation, right?
yeah, so you have to do the business too. You have to do a certain amount of luxury business in your area. And it
Yes,
qualifies the network. It qualifies the luxury network. So, you do the education and then you also have to have the transactions to qualify. And the two of them together create a very powerful luxury network.
I agree. Because as you know, Michael, there's so many different designations. I mean, I get all these things all the time. Do you want to be a CRM or I don't even know what the hell they are. I have no designation. And I think the Co-Banker Global Luxury designation started maybe 20 years ago. I don't exactly remember.
Oh,
But I
uh-huh.
started selling luxury in the beginning, so I guess I was kind of grandfathered in because you have to sell a certain amount. Never went through the designation. I am one of the co-banker luxury ambassadors around the world, and we're a global company. How many of us are there? 20,
I think
22?
that's it. It's like 20. It's like maybe a
Yeah.
little of 20 in the whole company. I think I
So I
have to look
remember I
at
was teaching my first, I wasn't teaching, I was teaching a portion of the global luxury designation course in Manhattan because you have
Yep.
to go through like a 1 or 2 day course to become a specialist. And I was teaching a particular module. I don't remember what it was, but I listened and watched the entire program. I was so impressed with the level of things you learn. I mean, I learned so much. I mean, selling luxury homes and being a luxury broker, it's there's so many parts of it, knowing art and culture and architecture and styles. It was just an amazing course that I never took the full course. I mean, I listened to a lot of it, but it's such an amazing course.
You say that now too. And thank you for saying that. You teach a lot of it, which I'm grateful that we have agents teaching it. But like you said, luxury has evolved to beyond the sphere that we're in. And that's part of it. It's understanding a full asset class for these clients
Exactly.
and understanding where things fit into the sphere when certain financial markets are fluctuating, other things take precedence. And it's like you said, it's this global aspect of understanding what luxury is, and I think that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. And actually, that was my one of my first questions, even gotten to my questions,
Ah,
is
I
how
didn't
has
even see it.
luxury changed in 5 years? Because it's all everything's changing and evolving. So how's it changed in your opinion in the last 5 years?
You know, it's it's been quite a cycle. Let me put it that way. It's been,
Yeah,
you know, you look at coming out of COVID. We first of all, when we first started during the pandemic, I think a lot of us thought, how are we going to even do business? And then you get
right.
into the following year when business was exploding and you couldn't keep things on the market for longer than a period of time, and they were selling it over ask. And now you're getting into a more normalized market. You know, you're getting into a
Yes.
state where there's more balance and where there's more work that goes into these transactions. There's
Yeah.
more negotiability, there's more flexibility. Luxury continues to evolve. And I think the other piece too that we've seen, and at least what I see too, is if you look at financial markets, there's quite a lot of swings in that space, you know, and they're dramatic swings. You know, take a look at finance and you look at those stock markets and look at bond markets and look at all these pieces. Finance itself has had a real kind of like this up and down piece. However, I think the part that really has come tried and true through all this is that luxury real estate proves to be a stable asset class. And people look at it as really a cornerstone of wealth strategy. And they say that this is impactful. This is an impactful piece. It's more, there's the stability factor in it. And the growth of this has, you know, shown that it's really increased. So you know, luxury continues to evolve. I think too, with remote work, with hybrid work schedules, with the way people live, we are fundamentally different than we were prior to 2020. Um,
Yes.
some of it will change, some of it will always stay as it is. There's a lot going on, you know, so it's constantly evolving. You ask me that question in another 6 months, and it'll probably be different. Um,
Exactly.
and you see it too, don't you? You see it as well. It's constantly shifting. It's never the norm.
Of course. Well, the funny thing is, I've been doing real estate longer than you've been alive. So that's
You don't look
and
it.
nowadays it's like I meet people like, oh my God, you're 36, 37. I'm like, oh, you were born when I started selling real estate. So again, I started at 18 years old, didn't know anything, didn't do a lot my first year or two, but it's been a long progression. But I've been through so many cycles. I mean, particularly in LA, earthquakes, riots, floods, financial crises, the stock downs, ups and downs. Like, there's so many things that always happen. And people like, even nowadays, I mean, with the war, when the war started, people are like, oh my God, we want to hold off. It's going to affect the market. But I always say this to clients, people always have to buy and sell.
Yes.
Maybe the discretionary buyers, they just want to buy to flip or whatever. That may be a little bit different. And interest rates, but interest rates has been a huge topic of conversation in the last number of years. When I started 18 years old in 1988, 89, interest rates were 16 to 18%.
Yeah,
I
exactly. Same
was
with my
doing
mom.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah, I was doing first
Yeah.
time buyer homes. I mean, I was selling homes
Yeah.
like for 180, 250,000. Uh, I didn't know anything about interest rates because my wife now, Gabrielle, who you met, of
Yes.
34 years next month, I was modeling and she didn't like that. She's like, you need a stable job. And I'm like, what? How about real estate? So as a young, dumb 18-year-old, I thought I can run my own business, be my own boss, drive a fancy
Yeah.
car, show
Yeah.
pretty houses and make a lot of money. I had no clue about appraisals and loans and title. I just didn't no concept whatsoever. And so
Mhm.
interest rates were, 16, 17, 18%. I don't recall any buyers complaining about it. It just, that's what it was. And that's
It
what I
was.
thought. So,
It was.
when things went up and went down, I mean, it's funny how buyers kind of just get caught up in like the rate. It's like
Yes.
you need a house. It's all
Yeah.
about what you need. If you don't spend
Yes.
the money today, then don't buy. It's your option, whatever. So
And the rates will fluctuate. And also LA, I mean, LA and the area in Malibu, I mean, the natural disasters, I mean, that your market, you know, and other markets too, but LA had just terrible, you know, natural
yeah,
disasters. So, you know, in a way,
yeah,
you know, of course you're still recovering from pieces there. And there's,
yeah,
you know, so I mean, just the pictures, you can't get them out of your head, and the people that lost their homes
yeah,
so there's that part for LA as well too, you know, which
yes,
is different. Granted, though, there have been, you know, other natural disasters in other parts of the countries as well too, but I mean, LA is no question
yeah.
just,
And
you
what's funny
know,
about LA and Beverly Hills, Michael, is that a lot of our market, even though it's not considered a resort market, we are kind of a resort market, like Miami, Palm Beach,
You are.
because a lot of my high-end clients, international clients, or even US clients,
Yeah, of
at a certain level of luxury, they may have 2 to 5 homes or properties around the world, right?
course. Of course.
So, and when people come here from out of state or out of the country, one of the first things they talk about is earthquakes, right? And fires and all the stuff that we deal with. I said, the bottom line is this: LA, every single street is an earthquake fault.
Yes.
That's just the reality. So, earthquake faults, we don't have other disasters, but anyways, you want to buy here, you have to live with those issues. Other parts of the country are different. Anyways, I didn't want to go on that tangent.
No, it's
Uh,
true. It's true though. It's true. It is. But back with what you're saying with interest rates too, it's interesting. People think, oh, luxury buyers are kind of obsolete from these things, and they're not obsolete. They're
no,
still affected. But like you said, though, I think people really look at this as a long-term strategy, and they
of
take a
course.
look at the overall picture, and that has really shown. Like even the trend report we put out this past January showed that luxury sales outpaced the traditional market by almost 2 times the traditional market, almost double.
That's very
That
true.
tells you right there the stability and the interests and the drive of the luxury space. So, I mean, shows in the
And you'll
numbers.
laugh at this. I did a video on, I haven't posted it yet, one of my driving tours of Truesdale Estates in Beverly Hills,
Yes.
which you've been to.
Yes, I have.
So Robert Truesdale bought that in 1952, 400 acres from the Doheny family. It was a ranch for a little bit over $6 million. 400 acres. It was part of LA. He then
Amazing.
luckily was able to annex it as part of the city of Beverly Hills
Yeah.
and started selling homes in mid 1950s, 19 late 1950s. But he wanted to have the Beverly Hills cachet, which somehow he did that, right?
He did.
And
He did.
those homes back in the late 50s were selling between 75 to $150,000, which is crazy.
Mind-boggling.
Nowadays, you can't even find anything in there under 6 million to start a little piece of dirt tear down. So
Right. I was going to say, what's the entry there? It's six for that's the
for
entry,
nothing,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So to
Right. For a
me,
plot.
always, stocks go up and down,
Yes.
and you buy a stock for $100 and tomorrow it could be worth $2.
That's it.
Uh,
That's it.
Things fluctuate, but real estate, yeah, markets may fluctuate, but real estate never drops and like you lose your value all the time. And so
Always.
my richest
Always.
clients, I have some clients that were school teachers 30 years
Yes.
ago, saved money, started buying buildings, and now they're worth, $150 million just buying little by little.
It's
Even my
amazing.
wife and I, we own a number of income properties, just little by little. We bought properties, and I only wish I would have bought more over the time, but I don't want to
I
digress
look
on.
back and I wish I would have bought more too. Believe me, I wish I think we all look back and we say to ourselves, we should have bought. But then again, that's stuff we use now too. That things we say. I say to myself, I don't want to be in that position in 20
Yes,
years. Say, I wish I would have bought
yes, yeah.
that. So we learn from it a little
Of
bit.
course. So I didn't want to digress into look, you and I are friends. We just have these natural conversations, which is
I
the best.
know. The best.
But when you came into global luxury, because I've been part of it
Yeah.
forever, I mean, Betty Graham was there and other people, and then you came in. You brought a
Yes.
very new, fresh, young, kind of different vibe to luxury, which I thought was really perfect for the time and where we were. And you've really brought a lot to the company. And you had your new premiere issue of the new, oh, is it clear? New
That's it. I
magazine.
see it. I see it now. That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Coldwell
And
Magazine.
it was cool about 100 because it was 100 issues or 100.
We ranked the top people kind of places and things. It was our list of like the Coldwell 100. It's our ranked list by our incredible team that went into that piece. Isn't that a great map? I think we can both show it together. I have a copy right here.
Yeah. I don't know why mine is not showing so well. I guess my camera,
It's the
it's some
blur on the
fancy high D
background.
camera, but it's not showing
I,
well.
yeah, it's all good. I see it perfectly. And I feel it too. It feels nice as well, right? You
Yeah. And the
feel it.
cover, it's got this kind of like texture to it,
Has a
right?
grit. It has a grit. We did that purposely.
In my opinion, in luxury, it's all about sight, sound, feel, emotion. It's all of these senses. It's not
Yes.
just, oh, the square footage and the dollar per square foot. It's a luxury is about how you feel about it, right? So,
It
so
is.
when I got
And
this, I just immediately felt, I'm like, wow, it's just a different feeling. And Jean-Georges, who's one of the best chefs in the world, I've been to so many of his restaurants. I mean, that was such a great
amazing.
thing.
Amazing. And Nigel Barker did the photography for this. And we had at an event in New York with them, and it was so the nicest person. Oh my God. He was so happy to be there, and I was so honored just to have him. And I met, and you really feel like you're in the presence of this cultural icon. And
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
this was real, like kind of like a daring departure from what we've previously done.
It was
But
totally a different thing and vibe from what we've done for many years. Yes,
that's what we've done for many years. And thank you for saying that with the perspective. When I came to the company originally, I always kind of had a sense of like what this was, but I always felt like at least what I can try to do is project this sense of enthusiasm and collaboration across the
yeah,
network. There's
yeah,
a lot of agents, and I won't get to meet every single person, although I want to, and maybe I will. I don't think I'll get to meet all 93,000 people, but I at least want people to feel that there's this relatability factor and
yeah,
that there is a stepping stone for luxury in this company. It is
yes.
attainable with the work. And luxury varies by market. It varies so differently. I mean, you saw me when I first started and I was just trying to get my bearings. And now we're doing all these great things with magazines. And I think the great part is too, we have leadership that really allows us to explore these avenues. And,
Yes, yes.
when we did this, we put together this team and the team, we worked on this for a year before we launched this. And I
Oh,
said,
I believe that.
and I said, I want this to be the most, a different magazine, but something so valuable to the agents that it is just something that becomes part of what they do. And the advertising opportunities are not only the print, there's the digital aspect, there's the events, and there's kind of an experiential component, and it expands us further. And it's just because that's where your clients are and that's what they relate to. So I
Exactly.
just wanted it to be that. And it was so well received with the first issue. We're working on the next issue. I can't say who the cover is going to be yet, but I have a feeling I know who it is. And it's all photography and work done for us. Nigel Barker photographed Jean-Georges. I think this
Yeah,
was in his restaurant in Brooklyn. Like this was all done for us. All of these
yeah,
articles, and the
yeah.
team that was put together for this, which is in the front, is just
It's amazing.
exceptional.
And
It's
it's not your typical, corporate house magazine or, all these magazines you get every month, houses, homes. I won't mention name, but just different.
you know,
This is something like covers Jean-Georges, and I just like the differential and the change. So that was
it
really
stops you a
amazing.
little bit and it makes you feel like it's like, what is this? And it's
Yeah,
wow, Coldwell Banker. It's just like, and it goes with our Live Well with Coldwell campaign. It just
yeah.
kind of goes with this synergy. So I appreciate
And
you
they're on
calling me
newsstands
young
all
too.
around the
That's very
world,
sweet.
which is
Yeah.
great.
It
Yeah.
is. I mean, this went globally. This went to 75,000 people in the Wall Street Journal, but then it was also
It's
sent to
it's
all.
it's mailed to 75,000 people, yes. And
It
then
goes with it goes with the subscription. It gets dropped in the subscribers with 70, which is a lot of people. And then it also gets sent to offices throughout the world, advertiser copies. There's a whole digital piece. We have a magazine landing page,
yeah.
um, an Instagram handle for it too, which is managed by a third party team. So, we're bringing it
Oh,
to
there's
life
Instagram for the
globally.
magazine?
Yeah, Coldwell Magazine.
Oh, well,
Coldwell
I'm
Magazine.
gonna go on that as soon as we're done.
You got to. You got to.
A-
It's great.
Another thing you've done, which is so amazing and it's so complex, the luxury trends report, which is incredible. So tell us about that, because luxury buyers are very thoughtful, they're very thorough, they're cautious, careful, but also instinctive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the trend report is, I think, it's like 50 pages, 60
This
pages,
one
right?
actually, the trend report is about 75, 76. The mid-year
Yeah,
report's kind of smaller.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So
when
that's
we
amazing. So tell us about the trend report, and because it's international.
it is. And thank you for saying this. When we first came out with this report, we had a report. Oh my gosh, you're going to remember this one. I think it was called A Look at Wealth. Right? There was different ones. And I
Yes,
looked
yes.
at it, right, wasn't it? And it was a great report for what it was. But I look at these reports in two ways. One, it's great for us to be an authoritative voice on luxury. It's great for
Yep.
us as company leaders and agents in there to be that. But at the same time, if it's not serving you, our agents, in a way that it needs to, then I need to think about it differently. And that's what this did. The way I have the trend report written, and we have these incredible people working on it, is that it is a consumer piece where I want your consumers to say to you, you know what, I'm seeing this too. I want to have a discussion with you about what's in here. And it's kind of written with this mindset. It's not pages and pages of Excel documents. It's
Right.
digestible information that, like you said, talks about trends. And it uses what happened in previous years with a little bit of, kind of a forecasting element to kind of highlight what's going forward.
Right.
And the first time we put out the trend report, I was kind of nervous because this was
What?
also when I was nervous because you know why? This was when we couldn't keep up with the data. And this was when things were changing so frequently. And I said, what if I put out something that's obsolete? What if the picture that's being painted isn't as rosy as it normally is? And what if it was kind of a little bit of a daring departure for this. I like to take risks. But there really wasn't. It turned out great. And then we follow up and, with a mid-year report because remember, the data is changing week to week, month to month. It's just so we put this out at the beginning of the year, and then our mid-year report, which comes out in June, is kind of like, did it happen? Were we right? It's kind of like, you look through the crystal ball and it's like, was that correct? Um,
Right.
so it's kind of a feeling, but then, this is something we give out, we have our agents can use and customize this and, put their letters inside. And it's, to me, I just want this to be, we look at the trends and I always say, what are the trends that will allow you to have productive conversations with clients? And if it makes an impact in your business and it allows for conversations to continue, then I've done my job. So that's perhaps the most
And
important.
you do it well. So that
Thank you.
being said, just give us a couple minutes synopsis of what you feel the trends are for 2026 luxury in the US and then worldwide. Because every
Yeah.
part of the world is so different, right?
Yeah, it's so different. There's been a lot of interest internationally in certain countries where people have looked, there's certain golden visas in certain countries. I believe Portugal has had a lot of, interest from people domestically, and then vice versa. There's been a lot of interest from other countries in here too. If you were to look at the trends kind of in totality, the report, when you open it, highlighted almost on the first slide here, that luxury outpaced the traditional market
Yes.
almost by
Yes.
twice. So the number of transactions is different than it was previously, but the transactions that are occurring are pretty large in that space as well, too. This talks a little bit about how real estate becomes more strategic and it becomes more intentional. There are lifestyle elements that go into luxury real estate. There are different categories that go into it. But I think the other part that I love highlighting in here are kind of these new luxury hubs that come about year over year. You look at luxury buyers often seek opportunity. They want to understand the markets that maybe are a little bit more up and coming, the ones that have had steady price appreciation, additional sales. And listen, Los Angeles is in here and there's different markets as well too, but you know, Dubai, Sydney, Singapore. There's certain markets that are kind of like your standalone, hubs that you hear often for many, many years. But
Yep.
then there's new ones that are created. Globally, the other piece that we looked at, which I think is incredible in and we track this both domestically and globally, is that there will be a very large amount of wealth transferred. And the United States is kind of set to disproportionately have that amount of wealth transferred into luxury real estate over the next
Yes.
decade.
Yes.
And it's a massive amount, Christoph. This is not to say that like, overnight, billions are just going to go into luxury real estate, but this is, over the next year, how much wealth is expected to transfer, how much is going to be, coming through and it's a very interesting piece. But then we kind of conclude this. What I loved with this report was we used outside contributors in this. And we use our own data. We survey our luxury agents to get their insights. But in this report, we worked with McKinsey and James Edition. And what I love with the James Edition piece was we took the trends that they were seeing on their website. They have a very global audience.
Yeah.
And what their insight was kind of that larger living is back in a way, and people are looking for larger residences when maybe previously it was kind of more trending towards the smaller side. And I think the trend, I have to look at the name of this one. I think we say like, oh yeah, here it is. It
So
is
smaller
exactly
during
this.
COVID and then larger now after COVID, right?
Living large beyond
Yeah.
the price tag. For decades, price was shortening for luxury, but 2026, the real measure is having more space, more views, more privacy, and more flexibility. Um, but it's a really interesting section because it takes a look at what they saw from, their consumer side, and they have a mostly global audience for a luxury database. So it was fun to kind of combine what we did with this. So I mean, it's chock full of seven big trends in here into this one.
We
This
like
was a
that very
meaty
much.
report. It was a meaty report. I could talk about it for hours, by the way, just so you
It's
know. I could
very
talk
meaty.
about
I
this
mean,
report for a long time.
takes a while to read through it all.
It does. It takes a while to do it. I mean, it takes a while to put it together. I'm
Yes.
already working on the mid-year report.
Yes. And I think one of the things that I admire about you is you really are promoting and helping the LGBTQT communities,
Yes,
which is so important. And I appreciate you doing that because
of course.
we have to always appreciate and acknowledge everyone in our world. So tell more
Always.
about that.
We were a sponsor with them with the Real Estate Alliance for a few years, and thank you. And listen, for me, being a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I speak about it often. And there's
Yeah.
there's so much that we need to do, not only just being part of the community, but in terms of housing in that sector. And they're an incredible organization that we've worked with, that we do work with. And you do incredible work too with Covenant House. I always look at your posts and I see, you sleep out for Covenant House. You to help you've done that for years with homeless youth. I mean, so volunteering, and separately, like you mentioned, I was an EMT. That was all volunteer. That was not paid.
Your EMT was volunteer?
For 10 years, none of it was paid. It was all volunteer. I loved doing that. Like, I will tell you, Christoph, that was one of the best experiences of my life. And all volunteers. So I know firsthand, those experiences as an EMT shaped who I am today. Hands down. Hands down. It
I
shaped
agree
who
with
I
this.
am.
So off-topic question. This is
Off
interesting. Just,
topic.
we're
Yes.
friends.
Ask me
So
anything.
I don't know about you, but this morning I talked to you about my technical issues.
Yeah.
In an emergency, a situation with earthquakes, I'm super take care of things, just get it done.
Yeah.
Small little like technical issues, I get frustrated.
Yeah.
Are you the same way?
Always. And you know what it is too? I think we have this, we're, our attention spans don't exist anymore. I mean, it's just, we're, we're in a world where, do you remember how easy it was many years ago to just kind of, not easy, but like we weren't as bombarded with the things on our phones and our this notification and that notification. I get frustrated because we have this expectation that things have to happen so quickly. And it's so funny too. Like I always said to myself, like after the pandemic time, I never want to hear like, "Oh, you're on mute," or like we can't get our. But it's part of our world. It's part of our vernacular. I get frustrated with it. I tend to like. I like things to work very smoothly, and when they don't, I always keep my cool with stuff. But I get sometimes I want to throw this phone out the window. I'm like,
Yeah. Keeping
it's
cool is not so easy, so I totally get
yeah.
that. And this
You
morning I
know.
was kind of frustrated. So, but Tom Ferry, my good friend and coach for many years, a couple
Yes.
weeks ago, he talked about Controlius Maximus. I think most of us at a high
Hmm.
level of business, I'm a control freak. I don't know about you, but I'm a control freak. But you are,
Because
right?
we care. But it's because we care, Christoph. It's like I am, and I do relinquish control sometimes, but then sometimes like things like that are really, kind of like have your name on it. I do nitpick a lot, but I think
Yeah.
that's because you and I care so deeply about what we do. We
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's true.
nitpick
Yeah,
if we didn't love it. Like you are nitpicking you're because you love your clients and also it's your name attached to it. At the end
of
of the
course.
day, it's your name, it's your reputation, it's everything you do, it's all attached to it, it's how it goes.
Am I correct from our conversations? I may be wrong, but your mom taught you to pay it forward. Am I right?
My mom always did. My mom and my grandmother, my grandma and my grandpa. See, my grandma died 2 years ago, and she was
I
just
remember.
an incredible woman. And she was actually like one of the first people I kind of came out to. And they always said to me, they always said, you have a great life, but others don't have it as lucky. And you need to make sure that you always pay it forward because these are the things that define who you are. And that's what got me into the EMT space. That's when I think I was also kind of struggling with a little bit of who I was at the time. I was 17, I wasn't fully, comfortable with who I was and just kind of it's the quirky stage. And
Yeah,
I said to
yeah.
myself, I'm like, I need to do something that gives me a purpose. And that did. I mean, I went full-fledged into it. And I mean, I won an award, EMT of the year. I could tell you about that. I did CPR 50, 75 times. I mean, yeah, oh yeah,
You an
I mean,
award for like reviving 50, 70 people?
I did. I received an award in 2008. I don't think I've ever spoken about this before. I've received an award in 2008 for EMT of the Year, and it simply was this. There was a rollover accident on the Garden State Parkway in New Jersey, which is a
Okay,
very big highway.
okay.
And the mechanism of injury was significant, meaning the car rolled multiple times, and it was only one person, I believe, and the person got out of the car and was walking around. I mean, that the car flipped multiple times at a high speed, so it's a miracle. And you kind of have this inkling inside you, like you should really get checked out. Like this is a big thing happened to you. Like I don't feel well leaving you. You can
Of
sign
course.
that you
Yeah, yeah,
receive
yeah.
medical care. But and I stayed on the scene for a while. Like others left and the ambulance, we had a crew stayed. And I stayed and I sat with this person for a very long time. And I said, listen, I think she was like in her 60s or 70s. And I said, you remind me of my mom and my grandma, like, although my mom was younger at the time. And I said, please do me a favor. Please get checked. Please just go for me. Please just, I won't be able to sleep at night. I'll be up thinking about it. I really want you to get checked out. And she said, fine, I'll do it. So we took her to the hospital and I thought nothing of it. And then only to get a phone call the next day or maybe 2 days later that said, were you the one who kind of convinced her or got her to go to the hospital? And I said, yeah, is everything all right? They said, thank goodness you did, because there was a very small brain bleed from the accident that
Oh,
had it
shoot.
not been caught or taken to the hospital, very well could have resulted in like a death overnight and something that allowed. And so I kind of stood in my tracks and I said, whoa. I said, it's simply because I stayed on the scene for longer and asked her to go to the hospital. It saved her life. So that's how I got an award because I spent the extra time. And that was in 2008. That was in 2008.
That's
Oh,
one of
wow.
the things that I'm so grateful to be part of Co-Banker. I started with, we were bought by Co-Banker John Douglas, but
Yep.
we have the best office, in my opinion, the best company in the world, and the best people,
Oh,
and the quality of people. That's so important. A deal's
so
a
much.
deal, but you want to be with people that are good quality people that care and love. I remember when I started at 18 years old, my first dinner 6 months in, Jack Douglas, the owner of John Douglas,
Yes.
he came in
Yes.
his those days the limousine,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
He came
yeah.
out, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Jack Douglas!"
Yeah.
And I introduced myself. I said, Mr. Douglas, I said, I'm brand new in the business in your office. What's your word of advice? He says, always do the right thing.
That's it.
Just like your
That's it.
grandmother and your mom, I
They
was
always
raised
said
that
it.
way with my family.
Yes.
Always do the right thing.
Always. I love that your wife got you into real estate. I didn't know this. I didn't know she told you to say, yeah, you need to do something else besides modeling. I didn't know that part.
Well, she
I love
was
that. I
not
love your
happy
wife.
because I was traveling 3, 6 months at a time with models around the world. And she's like, you know, didn't like that. So,
It's
anyways,
okay
that's
though.
how it happened.
I didn't know you started at 18. Oh my goodness. Oh my
I
goodness.
turned
Yeah, you,
18. Actually, I remember I was modeling in the south of France, and people may not know because there are agents watching this, clients,
yeah.
but you ever heard of Lumblow real estate?
No. Are they in
No, doesn't
France?
matter.
No.
This is 80s. So in those days, it was Lumblow was the real estate school. So I had
Got
these
it.
literally like a phone book this big,
Yep.
all of the principal, all the stuff. I
Yep.
remember laying on the beach in Saint-Tropez at the club Cinq
Uh-huh.
laying there having a lunch and just going through the real estate, studying real estate. So,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I,
but yeah,
I'm
it's
going to South of
long.
France this summer. I'm excited. I already booked it. I'm going to South of France this summer.
Oh, we have
Very
to talk
excited.
about that separately. Where you
Oh, I
going?
know.
What you doing?
Actually, I was going to say I just booked a great hotel. I'm like, I need recommendations. I bet you would know great restaurants and everything too. So, I mean, I'm gonna pick your brain for everything on this.
We'll talk separately.
Yes.
So what's your, because a lot of people watch it. So there are buyers and sellers around the world and agents. So what's your advice for a seller in the United States for the next 12 months?
Number one, work with an incredible agent like yourself. Number one is don't do it alone. This is a complicated market right now. You know, trust the trusted advisor. Trust the people who see what is happening day in and day out. And like data and AI are incredible, but they also only tell one side of the story. And whenever I'm meeting with whether it's a buyer or a seller, there's information that that can't be translated and things that are impactful. And like you said, do the right thing. It could be a conversation with this seller to say, now's not the right time, or maybe this is the right time. And I think that's the piece. I spoke recently about, kind of like the power of no, and it's kind of guiding these clients to in the best way possible. So if it's a
Yes.
seller, it's, the seller is work with a trusted advisor who understands the nuances that cannot be told to you, and also that maximize reach, maximize value. Put your property in the hands of the people that understand what this is with public relations. It's a complicated web. It's a high value
Yes.
transaction.
Yeah.
This is you don't go to a doctor's office. You don't go to see an orthodontist for a cardiac procedure. These are things that require skill and expertise. So that's my recommendation for sellers is
Very
always
smart
trust
because meet
trusted
sellers all
advisor.
the time and they're like, you tell them the real price, what we need to do. And they're like, oh, I don't like this. I want X, Y, Z. I said, when you go to an attorney or a doctor, you may not like what they tell you or the advice, but you take it or you don't. And some do and some don't. But
Some
that's
don't.
a big challenge, especially in the high-end market of real estate.
And listen, true, you know too, as the transactions get larger and larger in price, there's more and more people involved in the transactions. There's business managers, there's lawyers, and it's much more complicated process. You know that all too well.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it's understanding the complexities, right? It's just don't do it alone. There are a lot of people, a lot of complexities, multiple
Yeah.
time zones, multiple countries. I mean, you
Like
you
we
and
say
I,
alone,
you
like
especially
meaning
know that.
sellers like try to do for sale by owner?
Hmm?
You mean like on their own, like sellers doing for sale by owner?
I don't think they are. I haven't seen a
Okay.
lot of it, but I think some people in certain markets, I think people, I don't know if I would never recommend.
There's no for
I,
sale by owners in LA or River.
no, in certain
No.
markets, depending on price point, I think there I see it. I rarely see it on the luxury side, but I think also at the same time too, like I see it more in different markets and price points. And yeah,
Yes,
like you said, like especially too, there's like a very small number of people to reach a certain number of buyers when there are certain properties. So
exactly.
I don't often see, is it FISBO? I don't often see FISBOs, but for sale by owner.
Yeah. And I want to share being with the company forever and part of global luxury. I mean, being half French, half Korean, speaking several languages. I'm so blessed that, as you and I both know, we have such a truly international network as our company.
We
Our
do.
actual company, a lot of companies present themselves as international or whatever, but they're quote unquote affiliates in the sense of they just have a logo or banner on their company. Like, oh, I'm part of XYZ. I won't mention names,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But for us, it's really, truly all real. So
It's
starting,
real.
yeah, 15 years ago or so, when I started being part of the Global Luxury Alliance, was so to say, I mean, all of my friends now out of the country, they own outside of the United States, if I'm not mistaken, is all franchises. So whether it's
Yes.
France, Monaco, Switzerland, Belgium, Dubai, South America, different countries, it's all a franchise. But thank gosh for our international Coldwell Banker Gen Blue event. I get to meet all of the owner brokers of all of the offices around the world, which is so important because in the world of luxury real estate, it's all about And luxury in your market could be 500,000, could be 700,000, could be
Right.
starting at 10 million. Depends on where you are.
I
And I
would
understand that. But however, knowing the right people in the right places to be able to, I can call the presidents and owners of companies of Coldbanker around the world to promote a listing,
agree.
uh, or they refer me buyers. So that's
Yeah.
such a critical aspect in the high-end luxury market.
Yeah. And I mean, you know this, you know it so well. I mean, this is a global network in the best sense. They come to our events, they use our tools and services. They're in the magazine. International, it's global luxury for global. It's global luxury for a reason. And
Yeah.
like you said, you come to the events and you see it and you have these relationships and they know you and you know them. And how powerful is it that you can on your phone, reach out to someone and discuss what they're seeing in their market, or maybe let them know of a property you have, or hear what they have to come here. And it's just this symbiotic relationship of, cross paths. It's such a, as the world becomes more and more virtual and remote and
Yes.
certain pieces and
Yes.
wealth spreads to different areas and opportunities exist. This is where the global part is just the most important. We
Yeah.
can't you can't operate without that. And I love that you see that. And it they're amazing. Like I want to travel internationally a lot too. And I love, you go over to those countries and you see it, you see our magazines, you see our pieces, you see our logo. I mean, it is a real big network. And I think there was another country that got launched today. I believe it's over 45. I mean, it's constantly expanding. So, and there's a
Yeah.
great team behind it in the company too. And it's awesome. You and I, Christophe, just need to travel to a lot of places. That's it. We just need to get on a plane and just,
Well,
just go.
when Betty Graham was head of global luxury, and
Oh,
we travel quite often,
yes, yes. I know. I
speaking
want to.
around the world. But
Yes,
but the global
yes.
is so important because it's not just about, oh, I can just call someone and like refer you. It's not about that. To me, it's
No.
about, look, I have a couple of clients now looking to buy in different places, but I know lots of brokers, but it's like, who's the right person? But for example, last time I went to Italy, Alessandro, I was going to Florence and all this. I contacted Alessandro, who you know quite
Of
well. And
course.
instead of going to Florence for a couple of days, I went to Forte de Marmi. I went with him and spent time, looked at properties. I had a client who wanted to buy a villa in that area.
Yes.
And Laurent Vanda, who are part of our co-banker, they own France, Monaco, Belgium, Switzerland, whatever. So I, WhatsApped all of them. Like, I'm going to be here. So we we had a lunch together, all of us, in Forte de Marmi
Oh,
on the beach after the tour. Just 10 of the top of Italy as well. Just they
yes.
drove 4 hours to come to lunch there. But it's not just about that. It's about having the best people in the world to that really know their markets, who they are. That's so important because when you have a really high-end luxury client, you want to make sure they're in the best hands. So when I have a client, I'm like, okay, they want to buy in this particular country or city. I have a lot of connections. So like, who is the right fit? However, if you don't really spend time meeting these broker owners, agents around the world, if you have no even connection to it, then there's no possibility, right? But luckily I do because of my company and who I am and all that. So I'm so blessed to be part of our brand and having these amazing people that are the best.
Well, we're just as blessed. And what you said too is important because the referral you place is a reflection of you. That referral is a direct reflection. So, like you said, it's servicing your client and who you match them to or who you guide them to will ultimately determine, future paths with you. So, we're just as blessed to have you there. But I mean, I think it's so important too. People, I don't sometimes don't often realize the importance of this, but the referral you place is a direct reflection of you.
Of
And
course.
that relationship is so impactful. So having your referral network be so locked solid into just understanding this particular client is exactly it. But
And
it's
because
like,
of our company and our network, I have a client, 3 deals sold and bought. whatever he's
Yeah.
buying a different area. I have a lot of agents, but I'm like, okay, who's actually the right one for his personality, his style? He lives abroad, he buys and sells here. Just so it's, but having the network of the right people, if I don't like them in the network, I don't refer them. But
No,
but
no.
truly, part of why I joined our company originally is because we had the best people forever. Like in our office now, still all the top agents from back 37 years ago are still here.
Yeah, they are. I mean, we are so lucky. The network is amazing. And listen, I wouldn't be able to do what I do without this incredible network. So, I look at every day and I thank my lucky stars because the network supports what I put out. I support them. Like, it's amazing. I wouldn't do what I do without them. I joke, like, my mother jokes around with me. Like, I know more about the lives of our agents than I do about my own family. Like, I'll forget a birthday. But like, but I'll remember so and so as cousins, this
Okay,
and that, and but again, I
I
feel
get
like you do
that.
that with your clients too. It's just, I
I
forget
told my
about
wife
certain
last
things.
night, I said, if I was not married,
Yeah.
didn't want to come home with her and my dogs, I'd be working almost 24/7.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it leaves me in a virtual world half the time. And I am. I'm taking around two laptops, a phone, AirPods.
Yeah,
Yeah, we work anywhere we can now.
exactly.
Always.
So as we end for today, we'll do another one. What do you
Yeah.
want to share with agents around the world to help them build their business and then buyers and sellers? Just your kind of last comments.
Sure. So agents in and of themselves, there's two pieces. There's kind of the agents who are already doing the luxury business, and there's those who are looking to get into it. The first thing I
Right.
say to people who want to get into this is luxury is never unattainable. This is something that requires a lot of hard work and precision, and always try to be in the room. That's what happened with me, and that's how I was able to kind of do what I do. Always try to be in the room. And I say that because understand every open house, understand every listing, know where people are coming from, understand the things in the market that make you irreplaceable. And for the
Yes.
agents that have done this for quite some time too, I think, depending on certain markets, certain markets are seeing more activity than others. And I always like to say to people is stay the course. Remember why you do what you do. You do this because you help your clients and you love what you do. Real estate is cyclical. It ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. But again, we've looked at the trajectory of things and we looked at where this goes and the value is there. And have fun with it at the same time too. Enjoy what you do. And if you're not having fun with it, got to make switches to things. You got to have fun with it. You know, if it's buyers and sellers, I think when it comes to, sellers, we kind of spoke a little bit about is, using the trusted advisor and understanding, why you're selling, what you need to sell, your timeline, and be really honest with that. Understand what the parameters are and really kind of like set the course and, like, have the conversations to say, hey, we can try a certain price if this doesn't work out. Trust your trusted advisor is what I will say to
Yes.
the seller. For buyers, this is the same thing. And I think the buyers as well too, there needs to be this understanding. And sometimes it's a prioritization of wants and needs. Is it lifestyle that takes hold? Is it area? It's really making sure you understand what pieces you're adaptable to, what pieces you're not adaptable to, and the options that exist. And again, that's, financing. That's all different pieces. There's creative financing ways. There's different markets. There's pied-à-terre properties. There's multiple different ways and a path to ownership and kind of just understanding the nuances there. I think that the most impactful purchases are the ones that are made with intention and the ones that are made with purpose. Obviously, certain ones are made, out of necessity, and that is there, and there are certain timelines that go along with it.
Yes.
But I think the ones that are maybe not as much tied to the time frame tend to have a really cool edge to it because you get lifestyle preferences and you get more of a wish list thing. And, it's again, you know, create the value for yourself, but never forget that you have a trusted advisor to guide you there. And that's why we do what we do. You and others who are in this space tell the story of what is happening on a local level that can't be replicated in data or AI, and never forget the human experience.
So before we end, so
Yeah.
AI is very important for sure. We have
Yeah.
to adapt to that. However, AI will never replace us as agents, period.
No, it'll never replace the human connection.
No,
It just won't,
because
it won't.
in real estate, we are advisors, we're therapists, we're friends, we are helping them help them make the best decision of their life.
This is not also like buying a bag or shoes. This is a major financial investment. So this
Exactly.
is this is the stakes are higher by nature of what this is. So correct.
Exactly.
AI is incredible. It is only going to get bigger, but it will never replace what we have here.
I agree. So, Michael, any closing thoughts before we end?
Oh my gosh, when am I going to get back out to LA soon to see you? Is the only question I have
Okay,
is,
me too. So,
yeah,
text
we
me
need
a
to do
date and we'll have
now.
lunch.
Any other closing thoughts? No, I'm so grateful to this network and thank you for having me on and for hearing what I have to say. I'm grateful for you, Christoph. You do such an incredible job with this network. The way you service your clients, the way you represent us. I'm so lucky to have people like you. And I really love it. So whoever's listening, I hope to meet in real life. I hope to exchange information, follow me on social media, whatever it is. And yeah, let's have some fun. That's what I like to say. Let's have some fun doing this.
Life's about fun, working hard, doing the right thing, and enjoying life, right?
And celebrating. Yeah, and celebrating the moments.
Well, I appreciate you. I thank you. So, guys, thank you for being on the podcast today with Michael. Just fun chat. So, thank you and see you next time.
See you soon.